What's good, nerds? How y'all doing today? It is I, your brother Jay, taking a little sip of this sacramental beer to welcome you to Movie Mass. Thanks for clicking the button and shit. I hope you're ready for the bad news. Like many of you, I woke up to some news that I didn't want this morning. The news that I absolutely didn't want to hear. What I had feared for a long time has come to pass. They got the motherfucking Sundance Kid. I gotta say, it really feels like the era of new Hollywood filmmakers is well and truly ending, with folks like Gene Hackman passing away earlier this year, and now Robert Redford. You know, I know there's still a few of them like Warren Beatty who are still around. Faye Dunaway is still kicking. God bless them. I'm happy that they are. But it really does feel like the end of an era. I mean, yeah, Warren Beatty's still around. Faye Dunaway's still around, but these folks are pushing 90 now. Francis Ford Coppola, he's old as shit. It's wild times. It's weird to even call an era in American film that ended like around the time I was born new Hollywood, because that shit has always felt old to me. But Redford came to prominence in the 1960s. His stardom as an actor almost certainly reached its zenith in the 1970s. So he was very much a fixture in film during that new Hollywood time frame. He was one of these young up-and-comers in the late 60s with Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid and then The Sting. You know, and I've got to admit that the new Hollywood era is not really my bread and butter. So I'm not as well versed in this area as I am in other areas, movies of the 80s, films of the 1930s, etc. More classic Hollywood stuff. I tend to be a little bit more well educated. The new Hollywood stuff, yeah, it was an important part of my education, but still not something that I've pursued maybe as much as I should have. I can't even say that I'm a Robert Redford buff. He's made a lot of really big films, and I've seen several of them, but as I looked over his filmography today, I saw a lot of things that I would consider to be deeper cuts, at least in today's zeitgeist. Some of his deep cuts, which admittedly I'm defining as films of his that I haven't seen, nor do I remember hearing people talk much about, include Little Faust and Big Haley, which is clearly the unambiguously homoerotic gay boy follow-up to Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, so I love it. There's also a more recent one, The Company You Keep. Look at Shia LaBeouf in that pic. Look at that asshole. How have I not heard of this movie? Is it just me? I was doing a lot of drugs in 2012, admittedly, so maybe it is just me. It could be just me, but the only person doing more drugs than me in 2012 was actually old Shia here. My pick to watch this week, the film of Robert Redford's that I am going to familiarize myself with this week that I've never seen before, is The Great Waldo Pepper, in which Redford plays a pilot in the years following World War I. Kind of, he gets out of World War I and he tries to get back to life, but he's a pilot, he's a swinging dick. This movie was also directed by the dude who directed The Sting. So it's a wonder to me that Who's Waldo Pepper, Great Waldo, Where's Waldo Pepper? The Great Waldo Pepper, that's what it's called. The Great Waldo Pepper is not a more well-known film. I'm actually kind of surprised you don't hear that one spoken of more in the way that you hear The Sting talked about all the time. Moreover, I was actually very surprised to learn today that there's a bunch of his films, including some pretty big ones, that haven't been released yet in 4K, at least here domestically. Like Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid does not appear to have a US 4K. How is that even possible? I don't believe it. I didn't believe it when I saw it earlier, and I don't believe it now. Jeremiah Johnson doesn't have a 4K either. That's another fairly big one of his from the very early 70s. I think he made it, I don't know, 1 or 2 years after Butch Cassidy. That one, Jeremiah Johnson, doesn't have a 4K either. That's wild. It's got a Blu-ray from 2020 that was released by Warner Archive. And with Warner Archive getting into 4K, Warner Archive, that's how we say it in the hood. Warner Archive, excuse me, hold on. This will surely help. Warner Archive. They've been getting more into the 4Ks and the slip covers like that. let's cross our fingers. Maybe Jeremiah Johnson will get a 4K soon. That would be quite nice. Kino Lorber has actually been doing the Lord's work for Redford fans, though. They recently put out Sneakers on 4K. I think earlier this year even. It hasn't been out for very long. And before that, a few years back, they put out Indecent Proposal. I can't believe the Sundance Kid f***ed Woodrow Huckleberry Tiberius Boyd's wife, man. That was cold-blooded. I can't believe he did that. That wasn't very nice. Put your penis in that man's wife for a mere $1 million. Should I let him have mine for 10K? Just kidding, honey. I love you. Anyway, I'm going to be watching The Sting this week. See that right there? That is a 4K that's still in its wrapper. That's still in its cellophane. My wife just gave me this for my birthday on the 7th of this month. My birthday was recently, so my wife gifted me The Sting on 4K in a fancy pants steel book because she knows I like that kind of thing. I drink my tea with my pinky out. Look, I drink my beer with my pinky out too, see? It's because I like steel books, dog. And so that's the one I'm going to be checking out tonight, right after I get done pressing the old stop button on this here recording. But in my mind, The Sting, this is Robert Redford's foremost film, in my opinion. This is the one that I think of, the first one that comes to mind when I think of Robert Redford as an actor. I probably have mentioned it on this channel before, but for a long time, my grandfather, when he was alive, bragged that The Sting was the last film that he ever went to see in theaters. And he never had a 4K player, regrettably. But he quit going to see movies after The Sting for some reason. I don't know why. He retired from theater going in 1973. And he liked to brag about that. He liked to remind me that he hadn't seen a movie in the theater since 1973, which I always thought was odd. I'm like, you're retired? You ain't got shit to do? If I was retired and I didn't have shit to do, I would go see a movie every single damn day. I'd see everything in the theaters at least once, half the stuff twice. Anyway, I don't know if it was just he wanted to like end it on a good note. He loved The Sting and that was it. I'm going to cap off my theater going career on a very strong note. Or maybe it's just like he was an old timer and the new Hollywood movement just didn't resonate with him. That could be. I find that he gravitated a little bit more towards the older stuff of the 30s and the 40s, the Hitchcocks, the Cary Grants. I feel like that was kind of more his basket, and maybe it's not a coincidence. That's more my basket as well. Anyway, it was always fun talking about old-timey movies like The Sting and others that I've just mentioned with my grandpa. He did love The Sting, so I'm going to watch this one for him. I'm going to watch it for Robert Redford. It's going down tonight, dog. I also have memories of flying out to Utah to go to Sundance with my beloved friend Jimmy, who unfortunately passed away in 2019, R.I.P. Jimmy. But we used to go to Sundance. We used to try to party in Utah, which is kind of hard. The Mormon churches, they want you to get up and go to church on Sunday and shit. They ain't about that partying on Saturday life. But those were good times. We got Robert Redford to thank for that. So this one is for Robert Redford, as well as for my patrons listed here. Maybe more for them than Robert Redford, okay? May you guys live long and prosper, okay? Watch some Robert Redford films. Go watch Where's Waldo Pepper or some shit. Holla at me and tell me what you thought about that movie. What was your grandpa's favorite Robert Redford movie? Tell me down below in the comments. I want to hear what movie your grandpa finally went to see in the theaters. Was he done with an Orson Welles film, or did your grandpa go watch movies all the way up till Transformers 2, Revenge of the Fallen? Was that your grandpa's last movie? If I was a grandpa, that would have been my last movie. I would have cut him off right here and there. I said, Michael Bay, you're done. You're drunk. Go home, Michael Bay. Anyway, I'm already home, so I'm just going to stumble upstairs right after I chug this. Thank you, guys. You're awesome. Get on that list. Get your ass on that list. You know what to do.